Hey guys and gals, I got another one for you today. Today I am platooned up with Hoops. We are in our Panzer 7s on Ensk. Wargaming, what are you thinking? You remember the last time that we were in our Super Heavies on Ensk? The game was over in 2 minutes. I was in my mouse, he was in his Panzer 7. This time we're both in our Panzer 7s. And I go from commentating on ranked battles, which put me to sleep, to this game. This just happened, I think, couple days ago. Lose track of my days here, but this is a rare occasion where you can double ace with your buddy, and especially at tier 10. This is gonna be a fun one. I could not wait to commentate on this. So let's take a look at Ensk for a second. This is the most important part of the map in my opinion, and Hoops and I are going to take E4, that way we can get down this road. Another good location to be in is in F3, that way you can look down this road and just cover your buddy. And you definitely need more than 2 tanks to win this choke generally, but we're going to risk it for the biscuit. We don't have many tanks coming this way, but they have a lot of tanks in the field. So as we're crossing, you have to be careful. A lot of people will set up and get cross shots down that little roadway, whatever, opening, whatever you want to call it. And we get through that clean, and they do have some tanks in D3 already, so they definitely could flank around us. We have like 3 tanks within reach of us, so I'm not too terrified. Plus, when I got Hoops in his Panzer 7, I am very confident, especially on a city match. So get around the corner, there's an Emil 1, smash him, and we're already up to 1,000 blocked, 1,000 damage, 1 kill. Their T-30 takes our Emil 1, and you can see their T-30 is heading down the 2 line, so I think he makes some bad decision in leaving these guys alone. Come around the corner, pen this T-26 E5, and I'm trying to face hug him just so he can't get my lower plate. I don't know, he'd probably struggle to pen it either way. Hoops comes around the corner, slam dunks him, and then we got this AMX M451, and he backs up right the last second, so I miss his shoulder plate. He pens my lower plate, especially with me angling it up on that little garbage pile. Doesn't help my cause. And then he angles himself poorly at the last second there. It allows me to get it through his drive wheel and not only pen him but take his track off. So Hoops retracts him. And I make an error here. Knowing that Hoops has a long reload, we could have just kept this guy permatracked if I just waited a little bit longer to track him. So now we're going to see it in Hoops' perspective, and I'm going to jump back and forth from each game. So I hope you enjoy this. I was wondering if maybe I should stack them into like a pitcher-in-pitcher, or maybe play one all the way through and then show the other one, but I feel like this game is kind of pieced together in certain parts, so it felt appropriate to piece it together this way. And it's going to be able to show both of us almost side by side, so you get to see from both angles. Alright, so this is Hoops crossing, and I zoomed in on the map on mine, so he took it a little bit farther to the left, and he could do that because I was there blocking his side, so he took advantage of the fact that I was driving forward. He can use my frontal armor to get his side unexposed and drive straight up towards them, so they really don't have any shots. And I'll be honest, this part of the game is not that fun to watch, especially after you just watched it. I mean, when we come around and beat up a couple tier 8s. Now, one thing I should say, a good counter to this position is D5. However, you're going to be in that wide opening, so if the green team, which we do, have tanks down the 5 line, it's going to counter your counter position. And that's one thing about this game is, like, even when you find a sweet spot, there's generally another position that will counter it. So Hoops looks over to see if that guy is out in the open, and he's not. He's shooting through the window, I believe. And then this is where he pulls up, takes out the T26 E5, And he's full health. He hasn't taken any shots yet. Unfortunately, I don't have a damage counter for him, so I had to replay his in the replay mode. But you're not going to see him zooming in. I think I tried to zoom in here for him, and it just is not as pretty on the replay mode, so I decided not to do it the rest of the time. And you can see, so had I timed that shot out a little bit better, that AMX wouldn't have been able to get away. Okay, so now we have a crucial decision here to make, and we decide to try to pincer them. If they run out to the 5 line, we have teammates there. However, we want to corral them, so Hoops pushes in up here, and then I'm gonna wrap around the south, and Hoops finds a conquer, sitting hull down, full health. So I imagine our team has just been shooting at the turret of this conquer. Not 100% sure on that, but I don't know what else they'd be doing on the 5 line. I think this is the only guy that's sitting there. Conquer is not reacting to the fact that he just took his second Panzer 7 shell in the side, and it could be because if he moves, he's going to get shot from the guys on the 5 line. So the 3rd shell, he finally starts to react and is like, oh, I'm a 1-shot for this guy. And then I'm sure he's really excited to look over and see it's a full health Panzer 7. And he damages Hoops' track, and Hoops shoots the corner of the building. No big deal, just maybe a little waste of time there. So the Conqueror shoots the rubble of the building, and then Hoops takes him down. So I let Hoops know that I got these guys. However, the Chieftain T95 is coming back towards him, so apparently the Chieftain T95 didn't want to die by Mustard Mav. He wanted to get killed by Hoops. And then he makes his escape around the left corner there. I don't know what Hoops took so long to react there for. Maybe he wasn't loaded yet. I think he knew Artie was back here and he didn't want to get Artie slapped either. So I do end up getting that Chieftain T95 anyways. And risky play here, T92 definitely can hurt, but he doesn't pull his trigger. Like, he sat there for that moment and then he never shot, which is good for us. You see the game is tied 10-10, so I let Hoops know, like, hey, let's not throw our hit points, we have to battle here. This definitely could come down to us in the end. This Wizard 120 is trying to evade Hoops and get shots into me. Hoops is going to come around the corner, shut him down, and then we're going to jump back to my perspective of that whole match. So the AMX runs off to the middle of that little corridor, and Hoops is going to push around. And I really didn't expect them to come flying out here, but the Chieftain T95 is pushed up on the corner now, even though I have my tank destroyers in the 5 line. The AMX comes around the corner, I slap a nice shell right into him. The Chieftain tracks me. The AMX damages my track, and then I'm able to ram the AMX, and the Chieftain's hugging me, and unfortunately he hits my turret ring, and the turret ring on this thing is very sad and will get you ammo racked almost every time. And I used my repair kit somewhere else. I think it was around when I rounded that first corner, I used my repair kit, so I'm gonna have to play this ammo rack the rest of the way. I am up to 4,000 damage, 2,700 blocked. Gets another pen in me. I crit his fuel tank, and he's trying to stay on my side, which is really good. He's doing a good job of fighting me. However, I'm gonna keep my back to the house. That way, he cannot take advantage of circling me. And that's one of the things you see a lot of players do, is they chase out into the open when they actually should just be backing up against you know, a pile of rubble or a house or a rock or anything, just to keep their back or side safe from the mobile tank. So a little piece of advice, if that happens to you, that's really what you should do. Keep them in front of you. Chieftain tries one more time, but he's not going to pen me that time. Hoop says that he's going to get Artie, so I don't have to worry about him. And then there's a Wizard 120 coming over here. So we're going to start to close the distance and push on him. I don't want to get caught in the open by him. If he's got the big gun, that will hurt tremendously. Plus, if he gets to my side, and he potentially might pop my head off with my ammo rack. So we get a shell into him. Hoops comes around the corner, slaps him, and he's like, "Oh shit, there's two of them? What'd I get myself into?" So they're at back up against it, and it prevents me from turning. Thank God he didn't pen me there in the turret ring. I mean, you're not always going to get damage in your ammo rack, but I mean, if you look at the ammo rack on these, they're all the way around the turret ring is the ammo where it's stored. So you must protect the sides and rear as much as you can. Alright, so this is, we kind of lose comms for a second, and I'm like, Hoops, what are we doing? We're splitting up. We definitely need to stick together here. I think my thought was just to rush down there and try to help that guy, and Hoops was like trying to prevent them from flanking as soon as they did kill that guy. So I realized he made the right call, so I have to try to get to him as fast as possible. Now we're actually dealing with a pretty scary scenario. They have a T30, an E100, and a T-Light, all full health. So these guys have done some work in this game, a lot like me and Hoops have, but to me they have the wild card, and that's the T-Light. So the T-Light can quickly move around Ensk. Ensk is a small map, so for a scout like that, he can quickly maneuver, maybe get to our side, get behind us, and we have to decide, do we turn around and deal with the T-Light, or do we face the heavy tanks? Now the T-Light tracks me, and this is interesting play. So I aim down there and I see where his tracer comes from, and I'm like, there's no way he does it again, but I'm still targeted. So he's there looking at me, and as soon as his tracer flies, I send my bullet down range, get a penetration. So that's huge, and I'm still targeted, so I imagine he's probably still sitting there, but I'm not sure. Maybe the T30 and the E100 can see me through these train cars, and I'm ammo rack, so I don't want to take a lot of chancy shots, and that's why I waited for the T-Light's tracer there. Alright, so I'm trying to cover my lower plate up on this railroad track. The E100 shoots me through. He made it through that rubble, and he just tracks me. Now the T-Light's making his way up here, and I really don't want him to get to my side, so I look at him and he stops for me. To me, he threw the game. Had he just driven up to like A1 and then got behind us and just waited for these guys to push on us, he would have been able to farm us in the back. Now there's still a chance that Hoops pulls it off, but I think if he gets behind me, gets a couple shots in me, he's either gonna pop my top or just kill me. And as Hoops is dealing with the T30, he finally comes back, lets me know that he's got him tracked there. I didn't have a shot. I had little fragments of shots, but I didn't have a good shot. Alright, so let's jump into Hoops after he kills the Wizard 120. He's gonna head over past the B line. And once again, like, my decision-making skills here is, let's go save Artie. And against 3 tanks, Artie doesn't stand a chance. So Hoops definitely makes the right play here. However, we didn't communicate our thoughts to each other, which is one thing that we do very well generally. And you can see just that little blip of miscommunication put us potentially in a bad situation. Now we realize it and we fix it pretty quickly. But Hoops wanted to take this position because in case the T-Light went up the 0 line, he'd probably be able to spot him. And that was our assumption, is that the T-light head up to A0 and then try to farm our sides. So we wanted to make sure that we kept stuff on the left side of our tanks. And it's really hard to tell what's looking at you. So he's detected, and seems like it's the T30, but maybe the T30 can't see him. So is it the T-light in A0 just playing mind games with him? Gets a shot into the T30. The E100 shoots and gets spotted, and then that's where the T-light starts to shoot at me. You can see the tracers, and I let him know that the T-light's down there, so he doesn't have to worry too much about the T-light being in A0. Like I said before, he's the wild card, so if he potentially goes up to A0 in this position, he just can sit there and be a ghost and just keep us targeted, or essentially over in this location, and that's going to keep me targeted, and then essentially just set up an ambush for once they start pushing on us. He can get in behind us and essentially get side shots or rear shots into us and make us decide which direction we want to look. Now, it is pretty risky, but I mean, the way he plays it was absolutely stupid. And not to say that he's a stupid player, but that play was stupid, which we all have those moments. I have more than you guys know. I don't have to show you all my stupid moments. I just get to show you my glorious moments. And this one, I get to show our glorious moment where we shine together. It was so fun. Alright, so he decides that he's just got to take down this T30. That's where I get the T-light taken out, and that to us was huge. The T-light was what was bothering us the most, but he goes over, shoots the T-light. I let him know that I don't have a shell for this E100, and if the E100 charges me, I'm going to be in deep trouble. So he comes over, he shoots the track off the E100, and I told him I'm using the train to cover myself. So this is a tricky shot for the E100 to come around and try to snapshot the weak point of the Panzer VII, and you can see this is where he gives up. It looked like he was about to try fighting, and then Hoops ammo racked him. So he was like, yep, this isn't going to happen. And see how much damage Hoops lost? Man, he took a lot of damage there. And that's what he does in his Panzer VII. Like, he just twitches enough. He knows when to use his armor. You get a double kill there. We'll switch back to me as I take down the last kill. We both have mirrored games here, and this is probably my favorite part of it. So not to mention just the good comms, good communication of working together, but I throw down 6,900 damage, 6,000 block, 5 kills. We make 43,000 silver, and I get top dog, of course, because I'm just the best. And then he takes second fiddle with his 6922. And then we can actually look at his stats here, and I will also plug in his end game because he took a picture of it. But it's not like he didn't get shot at. He did block 3,200 damage, so he is just a monster in his Panzer VII. And together on Ensk, well, it's just not fair. The only other person that really had significant damage was our Artie with 3,500. So thank God we had him. He also got 3 kills, so between the 3 of us, we had a crucial contribution. I mean, our Waffle did like 2,100 damage, but you feel like that's either like a full clip or maybe like 2 clips, and he penned half his shells both times. He did get a kill as well. Yeah, but then Hoops' endgame, Ace Tanker, like I said, it looks almost mirror image of my game. Oh, this is a fun one, guys. Had a lot of sweet games lately that I've got to show you guys, and there's nothing better than being able to do it with your friend and double ace the tanks. Me and the Deering did it in our tier 6s, and I'll put that in the end game, but that's when I used to record on my phone, so bear with me on the graphics there. Yeah, I'll quit babbling. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.